All right.
You're all set. I will say that Shane is off camera a little bit, so he might want to scoot in a little. There you go.
Better?
Yep. All right, you guys are all set. The recording started.
All right. All right, this is the Town of Bridgewater Open Space Committee meeting. It's February 4th, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. We have here today myself, I'm chair of the committee, John Fitzgerald, who's a committee member, Maureen Renasian, who's a committee member, Janet Hanson, a member of the public, and Shane
O'Brien.
O'Brien, I want to say McGuire,
Town-
who's
town
town
planner.
planner.
Yes.
And Pat Neary has joined us online. Hi, Pat.
Hi there.
Kind of nice,
Hi, Pat.
I think, to be in the hybrid format. I like being in person, but it's nice to have somebody join from who didn't want to bother coming down here because parking is at a premium right around town today. I don't know if anyone else noticed, but
Yes.
all right, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. The first item is approval of meeting minutes. I sent out December 10th, 2025 meeting minutes. Maureen and John, did you get those and read them? Can I have a motion to approve or amend?
Motion to approve.
Oh, a second.
Okay, all right, the minutes are approved. All right, is there any public comment on anything that is not on the agenda? No, okay. All right, so let's go to old business. The first item is the open space plan update, and we have Shane from Community Economic Development to talk to us about this today. Let us know where things stand.
Sure, I'm not sure when this item was last on your agenda.
Long before the actual process started. So yeah, we don't know
I
who
think-
you hired and all that.
I guess let me run through where we're at the process. So we submitted an EA technical assistance grants July of
What's an EA?
the Executive Office of
Okay.
Environmental
Oh,
Affairs.
EOEA.
Yeah,
Oh, right,
yeah.
okay, all
I
right.
forgot
that one. Okay.
The acros change all
Right,
the
okay.
time
All right.
since my time starting in planning. So we get a technical assistance grant, probably I submitted in July of 2024. We didn't hear back for a while, probably until fall of last year, or actually no, summer of last year. So during that process, as you know, you have to procure, you have to send out bids. So the grant was for $40,000 for technical assistance for us to update our open space and recreation plan. So we went out for procurement. We got a couple bids, and then we selected Beals and Thomas. They're a firm that I'm familiar with my time in Brockton. So they won the procurement. So we've been working with them. We did a kickoff meeting with them early January, where they kind of gave us a timeline and understanding of where we're going to kind of work with this project. We're looking to complete by July of this year. So where we are currently in the process is that we have a survey online. I have some available from the members as well as the public. It is on the town website. So it's a survey. We have a QR code, a survey monkey for residents to take for this plan. We want to hear your feedback regarding this survey. So we want to get it to many people as possible. This is why I'm also at the meeting to provide information. I could just send you guys information, but I just kind of want to get this out there and have as many people involved as possible. Timeline moving forward, we're consistently working with Beals and Thomas in terms of GIS data updates from where we were at when we did the 2017 plan to where we are now. So I'll probably be engaging with this committee a little bit more in terms of seeing where we're at in terms of what you are looking for, as well as reaching out to Parks and Recreation, as well as being completely aware of some of the work that the Community Preservation Committee has done lately. I know that Jay and Goldson did an update that does incorporate open space. So we're taking a lot of that information from where we were at for that 2017 plan in order to update our 2026 plan in order to maintain our eligibility for trails grants. But I think the goal right now is to get feedback from members of the public to see what the wants are. And then from there, I think the next thing on the timeline is we don't have a date scheduled yet, but the expectation is that when the weather is warmer, and we're all excited about parks and trails and away from the snow, is that we're gonna have a public meeting on campus somewhere at BSU at the end of March, just for to tell people where we're at. But I think the first step is information from the survey, if anyone can provide that input. So that's where we're at. Our goal, of course, is to get this done. We have to expend the money by the end of the fiscal year. So we're hoping to turn this around quickly, but we're also hoping to have all hands on deck in terms of asking for public feedback and public
End of
engagement.
fiscal year it is.
End of first day of July. So we're hoping to have this submitted to the state for review by end of June,
Okay,
which is coming up quickly.
yeah.
Can I ask a question? May I ask a question? Janet
Yes,
Pleasant
you
Street?
may. May I
Janet
ask a
Hanson,
question?
Pleasant
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this before, so it's like, I guess I'm ignorant or naive. What do you need somebody, what is the purpose of that company that won the bid?
Yes.
What is their job? What are we paying them for?
Well,
What do they do?
this-
What do we need?
So we are paying in the sense of being taxpayers, but the money comes from state funding.
What is it that,
They gather the plan together, they write the plan together. They have more experience in terms of, mapping software and time. Because our department manages boards and committees and other
so
things.
it's putting all that into?
it's allowing for, so part of this original application, we mentioned in-kind services that we can utilize through to the state from our office. But in terms of the amount of time needed to commit to this plan and having it in a perfect format in the time that we're looking for, ideally you would like a consult. It would be similar to if our engineering department decided to work on just roadways and design of all these things, whereas sometimes you bring in a consultant and you have grant monies to pay them in order to assist with that process. So that's the goal of this, to have Beals and Thomas, who has experience doing these plans and helping us with data collection and mapping software and writing the plan too. Whereas, I'm sitting in my office and, oh, by the way, there's a planning board meeting tonight.
Right.
We're working on this. So my feeling is, like myself, staff is important to the process, consultants are important to the process, but I think the most important feedback that we are looking for at this time is input from residents, because this is a town of Bridgewater plan. This is a town of Bridgewater resident survey. If one of the first questions on there is, which ward do you live in Bridgewater? So our feedback that we want from the survey is really specific to Bridgewater residents. So we want to hear, this is your plan and this is what we want to do moving forward.
Is the only way to get a paper copy is by going to the scenes?
There's also here at Town Hall, and if you'd like one, here you go.
Thank you.
The only way to get feedback though is to provide it back to me, because if it stays at your house, I'm never gonna know what it says on it. So
I don't do QR.
that's fine. QR codes, we all lived through COVID in restaurants and the explanation of QR codes, but if you go to our website on the front page, there is a little alert if you can click on, and then you can click directly to that Survey Monkey. So
Okay.
we're just trying to, QR code is really more so you're walking by something and you take a picture of it, but we also understand clicking on something is easier as well too.
Did you put it on, sorry, did you put it on the other website, the 02324?
I do not utilize that. What I typically utilize for social media, and sometimes I look for residents to share it, is that we utilize our own social media through the Bridgewater MA Community and Economic Development page. I know it was shared on the town Facebook, but from a social media policy, we try to stray away from public groups and we just kind of focus in on our own Facebook pages.
One thing I wanted to mention is I did try both of these links and I couldn't get either one of them.
I can send you a direct link. So
Okay. So do you think other people are, I mean, I wouldn't
I
be
haven't-
surprised if it's just me, but I don't know why.
That's the type of feedback that, it's worked for me. I haven't
Okay.
taken the survey because obviously I'm not a resident,
Have
but
either of you
I
tried?
didn't even know it was out. That's why I was asking.
Okay,
about it.
okay,
that's
okay.
why.
All right.
Here, it's like being on like Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, I'm the special guest and promoting something too.
Right.
So I'm just trying to, if you know of anyone that is interested, and before this meeting, I sent it over to Kitty Doherty, had a conversation with her
Okay.
regarding the survey too, and just, it's just really.
Is there any way to get it to like all town committee members?
We could do all town committee members. From my experience right now, I've sent it through Josh to specifically this committee, as well as Parks and Recreation Committee,
Okay,
as well as Town Council. So, I have a planning board meeting tonight.
Yeah.
Announce it there, but, any.
I mean, it's up to you really, but I just think that, in terms of people who are actually interested.
Yeah, I
in
think, and this
town,
is kind of
things, yeah,
me
right.
talking
Yeah.
to a resident-based open space committee.
Yeah.
Who am I missing, and
Yeah.
where should I look to reach out to people in
Right.
order to?
I mean, generally, people who are interested in town government from any aspect, are more likely probably than just the general public.
No,
can have some
absolutely.
interest, so, yeah, so, okay. Let's see, the other thing, I assume, and you and I have talked about this too, is that we did just go through this process with the Community Preservation Committee with Jen Goldson, a consultant, and there was a lot of input provided on the open space component, so. I mean, and Maureen knows she's on that committee representing us. So I assume that you'll be able to rely on that information as well when you're working up your final draft or final document. That while we have this information, that information is certainly relevant because that was taken within the last year.
Yeah, and that has been relayed to Beelson Thomas
Yeah,
as well
okay,
too.
all right.
There's
Okay.
been, since 2017, things have been accomplished. They've asked like, hey, you guys had a list of priorities of things that you want to do.
Mhm.
What has been done since 2017? I provided some input
Yeah,
regarding
okay.
that, and there's a couple gaps that I'm going to have to ask Parks and Rec and other committees, and have we done this yet? So there's that,
Mhm.
but we're also kind of making them aware of other things as well too. But yeah, we're just trying to keep them in the loop of past things that have occurred since 2017, as well as letting them know of, because we're not trying to recreate the wheel here. We're just trying to keep in line with what our priorities have been since 2017 and what has been accomplished
Okay.
since then too.
Will you be looking for any kind of a report from this committee per se?
No, just I don't think there's any expectations of reporting. It's just I
Okay.
think, communication and having questions that could be on for another committee. We kind of have an ad hoc steering committee, so if anyone wants to like kind of participate at the next,
Could you tell us who's on that?
the ad hoc, it's kind of still being developed.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
working on who wants to be interested, who's interested as part of that too. So when we had the kickoff meeting, it was just staff primarily. But the next meeting that we're looking to have, in terms of an update, we're looking to have some residents as well as participation from other departments as part of this too. So
Okay.
it's progressing, slowly but surely. But I kind of want to get an idea from interacting with committees who's interested. Because, there's still people that participated, I believe you participated in the 2017 one. I know Carlton, Kitty Doherty, as well as Marilyn McDonald from Conservation Commission, but, looking to interact with planning board members and Conservation Commission members. If anyone, time is valuable, who wants to participate in this plan and who from the last plan steering committee wants to continue to partake.
Did the CPC update, was there a citizens committee involved in that? Do you know?
I know that they had a consultant with J.M. Goldson.
Yeah, but do you remember, Maureen, did they have a citizens a citizens group advising Jennifer Goldson on that project? Like, for instance, getting at the open space component specifically, were there people who were involved?
Oh, I'm afraid to answer that
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah,
Not that I can remember, but I mean, certainly had all the
yeah,
input from
okay, yeah, I don't remember
online
anything.
and stuff
So,
and
yeah,
people
okay.
writing in. And, but
Okay,
I think that was,
okay,
Carlton would know for sure.
okay. All right. Okay, so you'll keep us updated
Yeah,
and,
keep on all things.
and if you want anyone on this committee from, on your steering committee, I don't know if you,
Yeah, it just, I guess it'll come to availability.
Yeah,
These are
right.
gonna be meetings with a consultant during work hours, so
right,
it's
yeah.
just about availability of,
Yeah.
you know,
How many meetings do you anticipate with the consultant? I mean, do you kind of have that
honestly,
scoped
it's
out?
probably gonna be what I have on my project schedule is 3 update meetings as well as public meetings, so
Okay.
it's probably 3 meetings of where we're at. A lot of the work from the 2017 plan is pretty much the bones are there for
Mhm.
what we've looked at. It's just a matter of cooperating more with or kind of tying things together in terms of what we're looking at in the future and what we've done since 2017. In terms of new trails, there's been a couple,
Yeah.
with grant opportunities, but it's really a lot of data collection based on old census data that,
Yeah,
and it's a lot of just updates for demographics. That's
yeah. Well, and some of which Jennifer would have already done, right?
correct.
Yes,
Yes.
right. Yes, okay, all right. Okay, well, I guess that's all we need to know. And this has to be, it has to go in and then the state has to approve it by within some period of time or how does that work?
Yeah, I think we're looking to submit to the state for a draft plan for July. One of the differences too is that the state reviews it in compliance to their open,
Right,
statewide open space plan. So there's been some changes since the 2017 plan. So one of the benefits of the consultant is, making sure that we're tying in and we're checking all the state's boxes as part of it too. So
Yeah,
there's a couple added things. I think talking about environmental justice communities is part of it too. But if you check the statewide open space plan, you can see the extra things that they've added for us to check off to be consistent.
okay, great. Okay, any questions for Shane? All right, thank you very much.
you.
That's posted.
I can get into this already.
Oh, you can't get into it? Oh, good, okay.
Alright.
Okay, good. All right, yeah, you two should take that for sure and try
Oh,
to
yeah.
get onto it, yeah, and
Yeah,
if I can't get into it, in fact, I may go down to your office on my way out of here with my
Absolutely.
phone, so.
I can like I said, if there's any issues in terms of access to that too, we have physical copies. You can fill them out. I'm happy to share them or to
Okay.
take it online, whichever you prefer. We're in a hybrid meeting now. We can
Right.
have the options and the variables, to make it available to everyone. We're trying to do our best to do.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the next item, which is parks publicity. Basically that, I mean, what we've been talking about under that topic had been the videos, but also signage. And the videos are on hold right now. I mean, we got the 3 videos posted last year. We're waiting to spring to get the Ironworks one posted and then to film the Wyman North Fork video. But signage. So John, the last time we were here, we were
Talking about
We were-
going to
go
talk to
ahead,
Paul.
yeah.
I went down, I talked to Paul. He said he'd get back to me and then things got crazy, I know, with
with the
the
snow.
snow and
Okay,
all that, so I haven't heard from him. I
okay.
haven't been going down to the water droppers when I usually go down there, cause I
Because it's
know
not
it's
working,
been frozen,
right?
right? So, I can take out a card and probably talk to him. He seemed to think that he wasn't sure if there are any signs around, and the other night, obviously, with Kitty's meeting, you heard that apparently there's still funds hanging out there to put the signs down at Styles and Hot, but someone put a kibosh on that. So
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know how we find out what happened
Yeah.
and why. And then I think once that happens, we can move forward with the rest of it, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it's all seems to be tied on what kind of sign are we gonna use.
yeah.
I know I heard talk of the ones like at the one at Hanson. I think
Just good,
that's
yeah.
beautiful, but it's very elaborate. I think it's gonna be harder to reproduce and just some kind of,
Yeah, I was just having a conversation with Josh before the meeting started. I was actually inquiring about, I was mentioning that last time we talked, when Justin was here, about you just being able to get a sign on the street for Wyman Meadow,
absolutely.
which of course would be under snow now even if we had one.
Well, you
probably.
could, no, because I mean, I'm assuming it's gonna be a 6 or 8 foot sign, you know, even
Oh,
if
you
it says.
think?
public-
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
you know,
okay.
I'm
All right,
thinking
I was
just like
thinking of
one of
something
those
little.
blue, you ever see, even if it says public access, it doesn't have
Okay.
to, just because like I said, I mean, I drove by
Yeah,
there
and I
twice
just- yeah,
looking
Yeah,
for it.
yeah, yeah.
And once you get in there, you're like, oh, this is
Yeah,
nice,
yeah.
but you'd never drive in there thinking.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, anyway, Josh seemed to, I'm still not exactly sure based on the conversation with Justin and Josh and you and us the last meeting, like exactly what steps have to
Yeah,
to
I
be followed, you know.
I know that you can't just grab it and put it out
Yeah.
there, and I was
But
talking to
Pa-
Paul
but-
about that. And
But Paul maybe can, that Josh seemed to think as
well,
long as he talks to.
seemed to think that he could talk to someone that could.
Yes, right, that if he talks to Josh, then Josh said he'll get the go ahead.
Again, I even said, I can do
Yeah.
it, I know, I'm not
Yeah.
asking for the manpower,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
just asking number
Yeah.
1 for the sign, number 2 for the
Yeah.
commission.
But let's take that one as a discrete project. Let's get that sign on the street as just first step. And then the bigger issue about signage, yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this for years, but yeah, John and I he mentioned Kitty had her Bridging Bridgewater's group meet last week and he and I
That
were
was a good
both there.
turnout there.
And one of the things that she's working on, of course, she's got this new trail that's going in down on Summer Street. And it sounds like they have a consultant working on signs, or at least they have plans to have a consultant. And somebody in the meeting raised the question of what they were going to look like, the signs were going to look like, or something. I don't know. And I weighed in that we're trying to get uniform signage in town, and that we thought that Styles and Hart was going to be the template.
Yeah.
And now Styles and Hart is a little bit in disarray, and there's bigger things to deal with other than signage at this point. And so if we don't have a template there, then where do we go? And so if Kitty's working on a template, and it sounds to me like she has a consultant, that they have somebody who's
I'll call and ask her.
Yeah.
I didn't get that feeling. I got
You
it was all
didn't?
kind.
Okay,
I got the feeling that it was kind of hanging up in the air, all on that Styles and Hart. And I
Oh, no,
think-
no, I think that's my input, John. I think she's moving ahead with,
Oh, okay.
because she mentioned the name of a company. I wrote it down. I didn't bring those
Oh,
notes
for
with me.
the old farm.
The old State
Okay,
Farm one,
right,
yeah, yeah,
right,
that's what
yes,
I'm talking about.
okay,
That's where
okay.
I think she's getting, I think
Okay.
she's moving ahead with the sign design. I mean, they're working with the
Oh,
university.
then if
no,
they
with-
did
with-
that, I think that would
Yeah,
help
and
with.
so maybe what becomes the template, if they have a consultant lined up, maybe that becomes a template.
I'll
And
talk
we
to
use
Kitty.
that for other parks,
Mhm.
I mean, and I just think, and then Josh mentioned it seems they seem to think it's a priority to have some uniformity. One of the things as I was leaving, I was talking to someone else and they said, maybe we just do the signs individually. We've got Hanson Farm is different now than the others are going to be. Kitty's doing that one. Maybe Wildlands Trust originally had talked about doing the information kiosk sign, but then they actually kind of said no, they let us do it. They were kind of overwhelmed with some other projects then. So that one would be a little different anyway because it's a collaborative between our two organizations. But every one of them could be different, I guess. They don't have to be uniform.
No, I don't
But-
think they do.
And
if
then
that's
right
what they're
now,
going on.
most of them, we don't have anything, So I think, but if I think probably the first step to explore is if Kitty actually has somebody designing
I'll
something, and
talk
if
to her.
John, if you would
I
be willing to
definitely
talk with her, that'd be
absolutely.
great. Yeah,
Um,
okay, yeah. And see where are they at? What are they coming up with? And then maybe that becomes something that we can bring forward to this committee and talk to Josh or Justin or whoever we need to about making that kind of a template for the whole town. So, yeah, now Hanson is going to be different. It's
Right.
up and it is, and that's fine because it's a different thing anyway. It's a farm. It's not a parkland. It's
Well, I know they also said they were gonna be building some of the signs down in back of the Channel 8 studio there. Down
the Town River
Pavilion.
Landing.
Yeah,
okay,
so-
yeah.
And I thought they were talking about maybe starting in the fall, so maybe she does have something.
Yeah, but the Town
Lined
River
up.
Landing that's a different project, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, they're gonna use that to build the signs for the.
Oh, is that what she said?
North and
Oh, I
south,
missed
yeah,
that part. Okay.
the beginning of the north and south
Oh,
ones,
okay,
and I thought she said that's gonna start in the fall, so,
okay.
she
Yeah, I
might
don't
have
know about
something,
that one, yeah.
you know. what
Yeah, and
percent
Al,
as far
Al
as
Lacerda
design,
is working on that project, you know, the town river landing, because he was just at the CPC meeting, I know, I'm not sure just where it stands either, but,
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's a
so,
pavilion, right? They're building
Yeah,
a pavilion.
yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
said the same area, they'd allow, Kitty, Jake, the, guy who runs the Boy Scouts, I guess.
oh,
The Scout
put up-
back are gonna
okay,
work on the kiosk there.
yeah, okay, yeah,
So she must have
Yeah.
something if she has them build,
yeah, yeah,
you know.
right. Yeah, and it sounds like they maybe have the kiosks ready for the, or at least someone online to build them for down at on the Summer Street, whatever they call it, the Old Colony.
Yeah,
Was it Old
the-
Colony Trail, is that what
yeah,
it's
the old
called?
state trail.
State.
Old State Farm, Old State Farm Trail,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, well, that'd be great, John, if you would,
Yeah,
if
I
you would
will.
talk with
I'll-
her and
yeah,
just
I'll
figure
talk
out
to her.
how we can coordinate and,
Yep.
you know, it doesn't matter who gets the template, you know, let's
Yeah.
just find one and then try to get some of these, some signs up someplace, because, yeah, it's a shame that they're not better marked. All right, well, that's good. Taking that on. All right, and well, Wyman North Fork, that's the same thing. That's the next thing on the agenda, but the sign on the street, that's what
Right.
I wanted to talk
Right.
about, was just, and that I hope we could just go ahead and do individually.
Again, like
Yeah,
I said,
Right,
if I know you can't just go.
Right,
it's-
yes, you
If
can't
it's
just-
town
yeah,
land, I'm
yeah,
not gonna,
yeah.
you know, like I said, if I talk to Paul and he's like,
yeah,
yeah, I got, and I, again, I said, even if it's a public access sign, I'm not looking for anything elaborate,
no.
just so people know that it's
Yeah.
okay to drive down there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're not driving in
You know,
someone's yard.
what Josh just told me when I was talking to him, he said, I need to know exactly what you want so that I can tell Paul it's okay. So why don't we say, you know, public trail access? Does that sound good? All right, let's say,
Why can't, would it be better if it has the name of it? If
Well,
people
yeah, I
pick
mean,
up-
if they're gonna make one, absolutely. I thought he'd have. a
Wyman
public
North Fork,
access.
if we're gonna do a big one, we
Yeah.
can do Wyman North
It
Fork
doesn't-
Conservation
yeah,
Area.
I agree. I
Yeah.
mean, if he's gonna have one made, then I
Okay.
would definitely prefer to have the name on it.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what, I will put this in an email and I'll copy Josh and I'll copy you and I'll copy our committee. Just what the word is,
Yeah.
what the wording
Let's
is,
see.
and then, I'll copy Paul. And
Well, to get.
we'll see what happens, yeah,
And like I
yeah.
said, I don't have a problem, you know.
But I did tell him, I'm not gonna tell him the size font, I'm not gonna tell him the dimensions or anything,
No.
yeah, so,
But something that someone's gonna be able to see driving by
Yeah,
and say,
yeah.
oh, that's where it is,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I like the idea of the name on it. That's.
Yeah. Okay. All right,
Over there.
Have a
yeah,
question.
Janet,
To have a sign that just says public access wouldn't tell you what you have access.
Yeah, that's why.
So that's why, you
It's
know.
important.
public trail,
Yeah.
public
Yeah.
trail, or, yeah.
Continuity of signs would be, if it's feasible, would be good, you know, so people are used to, if they see that sign, they know it's for
They
a
know
trail. it's-
exactly.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
trying to come up with a template,
Something
but
Be
we
big
don't.
enough so that.
But if
people
we
can
wait
see
for
it
a
when they-
template, it could be 2 years before we have a
That's right.
sign.
When they drive by, it can't be,
I agree.
you know, this little print, you know, it's
Yeah.
like, what was
But
that?
this, have you ever been out there? Because this place is unique that we're
Oh,
talking
okay.
about. I mean,
I don't know where you're
this, yeah, I know,
talking.
it's Wyman North Fork. It's a new trail
No,
off
I
of the
haven't
water
been on
department,
up
yeah.
there.
And it's the road is just really hard to see. It goes between 2 houses. It looks like a
It
driveway.
does look like a.
And
driveway. And-
it's different, you know, like Styles and Hart, you see where it is, you know,
It's
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but
Public access.
this
for
one, yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, and just a comment on the matter. And sometimes too, based on like DOT logos or some other logos, sometimes you're using an image to explain to people that it's a park, because sometimes you'll see words and you can't differentiate it. However, if you use images sometimes and you use a consistent image, that's when people are aware of, oh,
Uh-huh.
that is
Right,
trail, that is camping site, that is parking.
Right,
So
yeah,
sometimes
okay, yeah,
images
yeah.
are one from
Kinda like
a
a
language
Stop
perspective.
sign, you see the image.
Right.
Okay, but again, all right, so
Yeah, just the
that's,
shape alone tells you. what
Yeah,
that's
it is.
something we need professional help with.
Yeah,
I don't know
no,
what the
that's-
sign
that-
is.
that's a really good idea.
Yeah, but who knows, you know, so can we hire a consultant?
Wording, but hold on though, if we can get a sign that represents a park and we put it consistently through there and it says park on it, even if other towns don't use it, people in Bridgewater are gonna know it. So I mean, do we need a
Well,
consultant
is
for
Kitty,
that? Or-
is Kitty doing, is Kitty using? it?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Or do we need a consultant for that? Or is it something we can say, this looks like, you know, a tree with a bench? would be a park symbol for Bridgewater. So anytime you see a tree with the bench in
We
Bridgewater,
don't need a consultant if somebody wants to do it.
you know, but I'm just
But the
saying,
thing is, these don't-
I get
these
the idea of a
things don't
consultant, but I
happen.
mean, I think the idea of an image, so do you need a
Do you have an
consult
image
for an
that you-
image of?
I would just, I would base it on, and this may be a question to Paul DaCosta, it's just, is there a standard street sign image that the state uses in terms of? Because
For
we could,
parks, you
for
mean?
parks,
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
whatever,
Alright,
because you
okay.
could have an image and then below it put the name of what trail
Yeah.
or park you want to look at, but what you want is if from a state, all stop signs look the same, all
Right,
yield
yeah.
signs look
Right,
the
right.
same. So is there, I don't know offhand, I can't express.
Conservation, oftentimes it's.
I can't express a
Yeah.
visual image, but yeah, I'm sure that there's signage that states typically use on major roadways or side streets that we should utilize or have been utilizing. But yeah, trailheads are different because you're on the private property
Right,
as well
yeah,
too. You can
yeah.
do whatever you prefer, whatever the town standard
Yeah.
is.
All right, yeah, if you want to look into that, John, that'd be great.
Well,
See what you can, yeah, if Paul knows of something that, he may know the street.
No, I mean,
Legal, kind
I
of.
can always check with the state. I'll just look up
Uh-huh.
state signs and see what comes up for a park.
Okay.
And like I said, I feel like I've seen them. It's almost like
Really?
a tree with the picnic bench in front of it. It keeps coming back to me, so I'll have to look it up.
All right. All right, good. Well, maybe we'll make some progress on this one of these days or months or something, but. And maybe Kitty's already got some.
Well,
some of
that's
this
what
worked
I'm
out,
gonna
so,
start. I'm gonna
yeah,
start with
yeah,
Kitty.
yeah.
But I think that's a great idea, the image of it. I think that, like you said, when you're driving by, you'll see it. It's not something you're gonna have to stop to slow down and read or, oh, what was that? You're gonna see it and say, oh, there's a park back there? I didn't know there was a park back there.
Okay. All right. Good. Tree committee, Pat, could you give us a report on the tree committee?
I could if we had any updates. We have a meeting coming on Tuesday, so we are just doing our usual thing, talking about what type of trees and when to plant. And we've been working on getting a plaque for a tree that we're going to dedicate to Mr. Maltby for his 20 years service as our tree warden. He's retired, so now we have a new tree warden. And what else did we cover at the last meeting? I think, we're always concerned about tree mitigation. And I think that's probably going to be another discussion with the planning board for the Encompass project, but we'll have to see how that turns out. We don't discuss that at the tree committee, but they do mention mitigation on occasion. We don't want to forget about that.
The Encompass project being the hospital, the rehab hospital being.
Right. That hasn't been discussed yet. I mean, it's very early in their plans anyway, but it's something that probably has to come up at some point. And can't really think what else the tree committee has been discussing. We are always promoting the fact that we are a tree city, and that takes a bit of footwork to stay in compliance. But now we have been a tree city for the last couple of years due to Nicole Holmes' work. She does all the paperwork and the contacts, and we are a tree city, which means we're doing a decent job with our trees.
Yeah, and I want to mention, because John may not know this, or Janet too, that Nicole Holmes was on this committee, and so she is officially still the Open Space Committee representative to the tree committee, even though she didn't do another term for this committee. She's still a delegate there, I guess. So, you were talking a lot about the common, the trees on the common. I assume that's an ongoing issue still.
That's right. Yeah. The tree warden has pointed out that we've got some some trees that aren't doing great, but they're going to try to determine some way to treat them so that they don't have to come down soon. And this disease that some of them have, the ash borer, I think, is one of the problems. Usually takes about 5 years, I think, for them to actually die. So they're not going to have to come down immediately, but we'll have to work on replacing those at some point. So there'll be a big change down there at some point, not right away.
Okay. Do you have your Arbor Day date yet, Pat?
We do not. We'll probably discuss some of that on Tuesday.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Any questions for Pat, even?
No.
No. Okay, thank you, Pat.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. Maureen, anything you want to report from CPC?
No,
Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah. I think I did listen to the recording of your last meeting, and I don't remember anything particularly
Anything
either.
else,
So,
so,
yeah.
yeah.
Right, so.
there's always a lot, but I think anything else.
Yeah, there's nothing particularly open space right
Yeah.
now, so. One of the things I did want to discuss under this topic though was the whole business about the signs, because I mentioned that to Carlton the other day too, is after Kitty's meeting is, given that many of our parks are very historic, they're historic properties, as well as would there be a potential money from CPC to create signs that acknowledge both the historic nature of these parks as well as the open space. Now, the question is whether when you have something, whether you can use CPC money to rehabilitate it or repair or to add something. If we were acquiring a park, we could ask CPC to fund the acquisition and do whatever improvements we wanted to do it. But once you have it, there's a question of whether you really whether you're eligible to add something where it's.
What do Carlton think?
Well, he didn't know. he didn't try to answer it,
Oh,
yeah, I know
just
he's the one who raised the question, like, oh, well, we don't know. We'd have to see. So
Yeah.
whether there's any way, I know from what he's told me before is like, for instance, at Wyman, or any of the town parks, we can't go in and ask for money for new signage because basically there are existing parks where we've neglected the signage or we have never put it in to begin with. So if we went to, for instance, if we were acquiring land someplace for a new park, then we could ask for money but not when it's just basically, it's not like the town recreation fields or something where they have let the signs of buildings or whatever. You can't go in and ask for CPC money to do stuff that's rehabilitate or repair or something. But it's technical. It's like there's a difference, I guess, between.
Fine line.
Yeah, it's a very fine line, and so that's.
I was gonna say, it sounds.
Yeah, no,
crazy
it's a
to do
very
something.
fine. No, but they're legal
You can
definitions, and
buy it and fix it, but once you have it, you can't use it.
yeah,
to put a
exactly. Well,
sign
see,
on
they
it.
want
That's
to
just-
make it. Well, what they don't want to do is they don't want to be funding towns for failure to maintain their own properties.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
can
so,
understand
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I could see if it was to maintain a property, but this is to build new signs for a park, regardless if it's an old park or not. It's not an existing
Yeah,
sign.
you don't have an
We're
existing
trying
sign.
to
Yeah,
build new
yeah,
ones,
yeah. Well, anyway, that's the fine line. I'm wondering if we might be able to get on the good side of, but I'm not exactly sure how to word it. And partly, let's see where we're headed with the signs on a more general basis,
Yeah.
because maybe,
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to Kitty, and like I said, I'm gonna look up sign designs at
yeah,
home, and
right,
I
yeah,
guarantee
yeah,
it's
great,
gonna,
yeah.
like I said, I don't know if it's from Maine that I see it, Withers Parks, but I know we
Uh-huh,
spent a lot of
yeah.
times in a lot of different parks, and
Yeah, and
It's
if
where
we
it's
came
like
up
a
with a
tree with
nice
a-
design that we liked, we
You
could,
know?
I don't know who we would forward it to, somebody for approval and say, we would like to see these adopted throughout. And, then what's the next step? Can Paul build them in his shop? Can you build them and get the
no, I
town to
don't
approve?
have a shop.
No, you don't have a shop right here. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, anyway, so I think we want to keep in mind the idea that we may have a CPC option at some point, but let's I think we need to get our ducks in a row about
Before we.
before we try to go to
Yeah, I think-
CPC, because, maybe we have an avenue here with the
Well,
work.
like I
that
said, I
Kitty's
can
doing.
talk to Kitty this
Yeah,
afternoon. I'll reach
yeah.
out to her and see
Yeah,
what's going
right,
on, just so
okay.
I don't forget, and I can, email.
Yeah,
you guys
right,
or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and see what she-
And, I suspect it's probably not gonna be an easy answer either. I mean, I assume her work is sort of in progress, they may not have a complete scope of work for so, yeah.
I'll tell you, I have to admit, I've never been in any type of, government or anything like that, and I have to admit, it's frustrating for me how slowly it works. It seems
Yeah,
like
no,
every
yeah.
time you go to do something, it's like, oh, well, you can't because of this, and it's like, really, something that small? It's
Mhm.
gonna, but now I understand.
Yeah, no,
why things
yeah,
take so
it
long.
is the
It's just-
nature of government.
It seems,
She's like,
pardon me? Oh, she must be talking to her.
maybe she's on.
Oh, it's Pat? It's Pat.
Pat,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, all right.
May I ask?
Pat, we heard you. I don't know who you were talking to, but you're not muted.
You are now.
Not now, okay.
I have another question, Janet Hanson Pleasant.
Okay, all right.
Kiosks, they, someone like Stanley Ironworks had one, Titicate has one. You see them and they're not necessarily maintained. A
Right.
lot of the times they're built by Boy Scouts
Right.
with their Eagle Scout
Yeah.
projects. We only have one troop here in Bridgewater now, Troop 31. But is that something besides signage? Were you anybody considering kiosks for these, and reaching out to the Boy Scouts to see if they would do it? 'Cause that's
yeah.
their project.
They are,
They
they're
are
building
doing it.
So
the
you would
ones,
keep kiosks along with signage.
Oh, yeah.
kiosks and signage,
Yeah, there is a kiosk. I mean, there's a kiosk everywhere, I think, right?
Yeah.
There's-
Yeah, there's one of them
I know
that
the troop,
maintain.
yeah, that Jake, I forget his last name, it is with the Boy Scouts, and they're working on it. He also talked to Dewhurst Lumber, who's gonna give him a percentage off,
Oh, yeah, they have to go through. Eagle Scouts have
stuff
to
like
go
that.
through all this.
Yeah,
but
because there is a kiosk at Styles and Hart. It went up very quickly. I mean, yeah, so they did it.
When did it?
Well, there's no information on it. It's just a kiosk. I
Yeah,
think the
that's
Boy
it.
Scouts must have
Thing,
gone
but it's
out there.
blank.
Yeah,
There's
I think the
nothing.
Boy
You
Scouts
can-
went out there
Magic
and built
mirror
it.
on the wall.
Yeah,
There's nothing there.
Yeah. And Wyman has a kiosk, Wyman North Fork,
Yeah.
that's been there, it's been there 20 years.
I haven't seen the one at Titicate.
But there's
so I
no
don't know if
information
there's-
on it.
Titicate has.
Titicate has a good one.
Down there. There was a big sign up there that
Yeah.
someone took down.
I haven't been there in about a year,
Yeah.
but there
Just
was
matter of who
there was a
maintains it.
wonderful sign, a kiosk, but there was a wonderful sign with a lot of historical information, but you can't read it. It was all blurred. Same thing with Ironworks. There's some nice
Oh, yes, on the-
information, but you
yeah.
can't read them anymore.
Because of, yeah,
And
the
that's a
plastic on
situation
the
that,
top of it.
yeah, they have to be upgraded from time to time.
Again,
Okay, who maintains the
Right.
Eagle Scout?
Well, nobody's
But who
I agree.
maintaining- no one's
I-
maintaining
no,
them, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
but I
They're
don't
not
know if they have
responsible
to
someone
maintain.
that,
Now, and John Hart is he's in charge of, he's the town parklands steward. And honestly, I asked him if he could come to this meeting and give us an update on what he's doing and what his role is these days, but I don't know, I haven't talked with him in a long
honestly, I
time.
have to imagine he has his hands filled just
Yeah,
keeping the
right, yeah.
trails clean.
Right,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
cause I used to do Titicate when
Yeah.
I walk my dog
Yeah.
down there, and I mean,
Well, and I think you told me you saw him at one of Kitty's meetings,
I
and I
did.
was hoping to meet him there the other day,
I
but he
did,
wasn't at that
um,
meeting either.
but it, to maintain it, I can
Yeah.
imagine
Yeah,
maintaining
he's
all
doing
the
six,
parks,
yeah,
it's,
right, yeah.
it's a lot of work, cause
Yeah.
like I said, just walking through Titicate with my dog, it took a lot to maintain
Yeah.
and cut back, so you
Yeah.
could walk through
Yeah.
the,
Yeah,
or
he's in
clearing
charge
up
of
after a
maintenance,
storm, or, you
Yeah.
know, I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, I called Gina Guasconi too, because she's on the Parks and Rec Commission, and I thought maybe she would know something, but I haven't heard back from her yet about, if he's, because he does report to Parks and Rec, but the last couple meetings I sat in on, he hasn't been there, so I don't know if he's, but anyway. Okay. Hanson Farm, in addition to the sign issue we've been talking about, I know I heard, let's see, what did, on the CPC, there's going to be a spring recognition ceremony.
Yes.
We had talked about this before. I guess it's going to be April now sometime, where people will be celebrate.
I understood they had to talk to the Hanson family.
Yeah, find
Make
out
sure
like
what time
when,
would
yeah,
be good.
Yeah,
when.
Around
you have
planting.
to ask David.
Oh, yeah, no, they're going to. I think
But
Josh is
March-
coordinating it,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It would depend on this weather here, but
yeah.
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
thought I
like-
heard March, but April, but you don't wanna be getting into,
You don't want to get into planting and
no.
Yeah,
it's gonna be,
yeah.
You know, March,
Right.
I know April, you're pushing it, and if you do April, it would have to be the beginning of April.
Yeah, yeah. I
It
think
all
that's what
depends
they
on
were
Mother
thinking.
Nature.
Anyway, so they're coming up
Yeah,
with the
right.
guest list. Yeah, it could be a rainy day or snowy for that matter. Who knows? Yes,
Who made the sign at Hanson?
Carlton had it done. I don't know who made it, but it was made, the model was the Pecone Farm down in Middleborough on Plymouth Street.
Okay,
That they had put up that was a recently acquired property. And with a CR on it. And so somebody took a look at their sign and had the person, I think it was Carlton who said that the person who made that Pecone Farm sign was asked to make this sign. And I don't know how it happened, or I don't know who paid for it. Yeah, that's all I know. But, and it is very different than any other parkland signs.
beautiful.
Yeah,
It's a nice
it's
little-
got it's got the farm
It's
kind
got
of,
the seal.
It's a nice
the
sign.
corn. Yeah, it
It's
is. It's very nice, very
It
informative.
is big.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
We didn't pay.
You're right, yes, yeah, no. Okay, so, and the other issue is just, Hanson Farm, there still needs to be work done on the trail.
Right.
Because there's a trail,
Some bridges.
a few of us went out there and there was I know they had an engineering design, but I don't know what the issue is right now, whether Wildlands Trust is involved or whether Hanson still has to clear, or clear literally or figuratively. I don't know, where it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the status, and it sounds like it was a little bit unclear from what I listened to on the Community Preservation Committee meeting as well, but
Yes.
that also is yet to be completed, so. The farm, the place is preserved, that's the important thing, but there will be a public trail on it at some point, so. Okay, the Murray Needs Farm access, we've talked about before, the last, you remember this one, John? It's behind
Sure.
yeah, okay, there was a meeting, Joan Pierce, who's with the Mash Fish and Game. I met with her and Carlton, and she apparently reached out to Carlton and I think Mary Lee and asked for a meeting just because I think she'd been talking to your husband actually, who's just always interested in what else can be acquired in the general area of Murray Needs and Hanson Farm, because there is some open space out there, and is any of it, eligible for preservation, and what can we do to explore that? And so she has been. I know I met with her when I first got on this committee like 6 years ago, and she and I went out and walked a lot of those properties around there, and she's kind of had her eye on some open space in that area for a long time, and keeps track of like what's being sold and around there. And anyway, she's doing a little more exploration to see if there would be any. I mean, we explained to her what we had done with talking with the realtor who had that Den Benson farm listed, and trying to get some way of getting a parking area and a trail where the public can actually get into Murray Needs without parking on North Street. So anyway, that's still in process. We will continue to work on that and hope that we can get something done there one of these years.
Is that place still for sale?
It is for sale, yeah. Yeah, in fact, that was one of the things we talked about, whether to call the new realtor, but we decided to wait a little bit because I volunteered to call them, and it's been almost a year since we talked to her, and she she said she didn't want to work with the town, so.
But what did you ask? Did you ask her to sell you just a little tiny piece of it, or did you ask for
Yeah,
like?
no, we talked about a lot of options, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the town, we talked about getting an access, an easement.
And does that trail go in the woods, or is it the trail around that?
It goes into the woods.
Farmland.
Yeah, both,
Okay.
yeah, it goes.
See, I haven't been on that
Yeah.
one because I
Right, 'cause you
pulled up and I
can't
was
get
like,
to it. Yeah, right, how do I get there? Right, yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so that was part of what we were looking at, because we didn't, the town, we assumed the town was not gonna be interested in buying the whole 7.5 acres or something, although I.
But even half an acre would be enough to park.
Exactly, yeah, so we were, talking to her even just about an easement, so we could get in,
Oh, yeah.
but she wasn't interested, so, and her realtor was, encouraging to us, and I think was.
That's surprising, right? That's they have a farm?
Well, she
They
just
have a farm?
wanted to sell the whole 7.5 acres and be done with it. You know, she just didn't want to have to deal with negotiating a deal
Okay,
of some
yeah,
sort
yeah,
with
I
the
get it.
town. But again, that was last May that we went out there. We went, Maureen and I went out a couple times, and then we took Carlton and Gino with us for CPC also, and met with the Realtor twice. And
Did you ever meet with the owner herself?
no, she didn't want. No, she wouldn't. I know David had talked with her. David Hanson had talked
Okay.
with her at times, but yeah, no, we never got there.
'Cause I was gonna say, sometimes if you talk to the
Yeah.
actual person and just say, you know, it's for conservation, it's for, you know, we're not gonna try to build anything on it, we want it for the.
Yeah,
town
yeah,
people.
no,
They-
yeah.
They might
Right,
have a
yeah.
little different, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. So
Yeah,
if someone
I
already
think-
approached her, then that's a different.
I mean, I think her
story.
Realtor conveyed it pretty strongly to her. You know, I think she was pretty. She was pretty much very much in favor with you know what we're telling and trying to get her to set aside some for conservation for the town, et cetera. I mean,
Yeah,
it
it's just
wasn't- yeah,
surprising that, I
yeah.
mean, I know they have that big property too, so down over on that big huge.
Yeah, the
there,
farm.
They sell the eggs.
Right,
so
yeah, yeah,
Usually,
yeah. the
you know, a
raised
farm
beef
or
and
someone like
everything,
that
yeah.
would be more understanding.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, they're gonna do conservation.
Yeah, you would hope.
I mean, and if the town's willing to pay the, you know, a fair price for
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
It seems like a no-brainer to me. I don't know.
Well,
I guess I think.
It wasn't.
I guess I think everything should be so easy.
right,
now.
right,
You know?
right. Yeah, well, you haven't been on this committee long enough.
No,
I know.
but again, I just sometimes wonder if you talk directly to the person instead of this one talks to that one, talks to that one, just say, you know, this is what we need, we were hoping we could do. This is why we want to do it. We understand that you don't want to sell it, you know, but we're not going to develop it. You know, it's going to go to the town people and we'll use it as a beautiful piece of property and it's going to prevent someone from putting someone on it that couldn't buy it and
Yeah.
develop it for something. I mean, I know it's probably.
Yeah, and there had been somebody had, there was a contract, somebody was gonna develop it. They had a contract and then they couldn't put the number of lots in it that they expected because of the wetlands, and so
Okay.
they backed out. So
But see, that's
she had
what I'm gonna
already
say,
had
so
it,
someone's
yeah,
gonna get it and end up
Yeah.
putting houses
Yeah.
there or something like that, because you
Yeah.
know there's
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
be,
yeah.
the right person's gonna know the right person and they're gonna get it.
Yeah, and she already sold off that corner, that little house.
Yeah, I
too,
saw,
you know,
someone did a nice job on that, though.
Yeah,
That
it
that
looks
was nice,
nice,
'cause
too.
that was crazy
All right.
looking for a while.
So to a new open space committee members, we still have 2 spaces. I did talk with somebody at the meeting, again, the kiddies meeting, Pete. Pete Dangoyer, you remember Pete, one of the NRTB members, National Resources Trust of Bridgewater, that he still works with Kitty. He's the treasurer, I guess, and he had expressed some interest when the time I invited you, John, and you accepted. I talked with him and he said, oh, I might be interested, but he is still interested, but he's got some family issues. So anyway, but it's out there. He's still, so, anyway, we need to, if you know anybody, I know asked you before, Janet, if you know, hey, have you applied for are you on a town
I was
committee
gonna
yet?
say,
Are you
you seem like a
something
perfect
around
person.
finding the perfect committee?
No, I just interested in open space. And the problem, if I go on a committee, I might have to recluse, you know, it's like, which should I prefer? Because if you're on a committee, sometimes you can't do
Yeah,
something
right,
else.
yeah, but that's rare. Yeah,
I
that's
think
rare.
you'd be perfect for this committee.
But so you haven't signed up for anything yet?
I have not signed up.
All right.
The only committee I ever was on was the Charter Review Committee in 2020.
Oh, okay.
2021.
All right, well, I hope you keep attending and maybe you'll just decide you just
Yeah, I mean, I think you should be.
jump right in.
You seem like you know a lot about the town.
Yeah, you're certainly interested.
Yeah.
And you're here anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you've been here every time I've been
When I
here.
switched
You know,
to
if something
IC,
comes up that you don't, and you want to recuse yourself, you can recuse yourself on an issue. You know, if something's on the agenda and you think you have a conflict of
Well, the two
interest, if
things that
Hanson,
were-
yeah,
I came because I saw 2 things on your agenda and I said, I'm interested in what you were gonna talk about, Hanson Farm and Murray Mead.
yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
interested in those.
So, but if we were talking about something and you had a conflict, you would just say, oh,
Well, I know you have,
I won't-
you
yeah,
know,
right,
but then
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't
but it didn't mean you couldn't be on the committee.
voice your opinion.
So, all right, well, think about it. New business, the annual report, I have to do an annual report for us. And I'm behind. It was due, I don't know how many weeks ago. But I didn't care. I just didn't get it done. I was on my way to Morocco and I just didn't get it done. So
Morocco sounds a lot better
Right.
than
anyway, I will send it out to the two of you for your review at some point. I mostly was having a hard time figuring out when we met because we had we had a number of meetings scheduled and then they got canceled
Oh,
or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
you know, and so I couldn't even really figure out. That was my first thing. We met such as I always say how many times we met. Like I got stumped there. And so the other thing is did you both do your ethics training?
Yeah, I did it when I first,
Good for you.
Yeah, that should be fine. I can get any more reminders.
Well, it depends. Yeah, so you get something every year. You didn't get
Yeah,
something.
no, I already-
Yeah, okay. I had to do the whole thing over. And,
Yeah.
and I got you. Okay, yeah. All right, okay. Just want to make sure we're all legitimate.
Oh, if not, they just hammer you.
Oh, yeah, I kept
Almost
getting it.
daily.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah, but I got halfway through there and then it froze up and I couldn't go
Yeah.
any further. And so I left on vacation not knowing. And I thought, I'm gonna have to do this whole thing when I get back. But then when I opened it up, it was fine. So
Oh, great.
yeah, I went down there.
The other
I
thing-
did mine recently.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to report to both of you, I got a request just before I was leaving, for a letter of support from Wildlands Trust for the trail that is being put in, Perkins Preserve is that giant housing, division.
No, right.
Yeah, over by the river. What is that called?
Oldfield Estates,
Oldfield.
Oldfield Preserve.
What is it gonna be called?
Oldfield, well, it's called Perkins Preserve.
Perkins
It's
Preserve,
adjacent
Perkins
to,
Preserve, to Oldfield, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oldfield.
okay. Do you know where that is, John? I mean, it was a huge forest land that was cleared about 15, 20 years ago, and now there's hundreds of houses out there.
Oh,
But
Right.
Wildlands Trust has I mean, of course, they couldn't build right, it's right on the Ton. But Perkins Preserve. You go find, the street is Magnolia Way. You
Okay.
Find Magnolia Way on your map.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They-
So you go in Magnolia Way and all of the land to the right, to the east is a preserve now because it's right along the Taunton River. So whatever the setback is I guess what's become the preserve.
Yeah, I actually went to Restoration Coffee today. They actually have, ironically, a survey as well too, for residents to take. So,
Oh, they do too. That's right. She told me
there's so
that.
many
Yes, yeah. Okay,
QR
yeah.
codes. It looks literally the same as this one.
Oh.
But it actually does feature a question like, "Are you aware of Perkins Preserve and what we want to kind of do there?"
Okay,
So,
yeah, that's right.
I was looking at it today, so I can actually forward that along.
Okay,
Oh,
good, yeah.
so you got that
Yeah,
information.
okay, yeah, yeah, 'cause I haven't actually seen what they posted yet. What she was asking me was just if we would give her a letter of support for submission to the state's trail program for a new parking area, a trail, and a new outlook area, that will be handicapped accessible at that preserve.
And this land.
And I think it's
available for
about
parking?
95 acres.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's pretty big.
oh, yeah.
Right
that's
along the
good.
river, I think
95
that's what,
acres is
yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
It's confusing to hear Perkins, because I think of Perkins.
that's what I was thinking too, down there.
Oh,
You know, when you
yeah,
say
but it was
Perkins, I'm
Mr.
thinking
Perkins, it was
School.
the Perkins, that's, oh yeah, the Perkins family owned that farm there, maybe they're related, I don't know. I mean, it was a farmer, there was a Perkins farm out there, yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I remember Mr. Perkins wanted the land to go to the town, but the family members, yeah,
the
the
whole
Millions
big thing,
Project,
yeah,
yeah, but the
yeah.
family, some of the family members didn't or something, so it ended up being housing. Anyway, so I just wanted to tell you, I would ask you for your approval to send a letter of support like that, but in this case, we had just met. We didn't have a meeting till February 3rd. I was gonna be out of the country, so I just sent it here. I assume you're okay.
No, she just.
All right, I think that's it. Anybody have anything else?
Okay, and he's a Bridgewater
You
resident?
wanna talk about?
Okay, yeah, hopefully this will just be another.
Okay, no problem.
Nope. All right. Let's talk about our next meeting. The first Thursday of next month, or the first Wednesday, right? First Wednesday, I cannot. I could do the second one again, but we probably need to find out from Josh. Josh, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
We're trying to find a meeting date, so I just want you to hear what we might come up with to see if the room is available. Does the
Yeah, sure.
March 11th work for you, Maureen?
Yep,
John?
I'm available.
Okay, how about March 11th at 1:30?
Maybe,
Yeah, let me,
Oh, wait,
uh,
no,
you can't do the week before, huh?
I can't, no.
Well, I'll say tentatively, yeah.
How about the 18th? Is that more certain?
I may be away.
You may be way, okay, all right, okay.
I'm not sure, though, so we can just.
Make it tentative, okay, all right, okay. Tentatively, we will, do this our next meeting, March 11th at 1:30.
yeah, that should be no problem. I didn't get any.
Yeah, okay.
In
denials.
person.
Yeah, in person and Zoom, yep.
Yep.
All right, and you'll let us know, Maureen, as soon
Yeah,
as you
when
know.
things for a month.
Okay. All right.
And if I find out anything, I'm not gonna wait till the next meeting else.
Oh, no, yeah, right, yeah, that's great, yep.
Like I said, it's. I like
Yeah.
to be a little- It's a little hard for me.
Right, no, yeah, things don't
We
work
have to
that way in
vote to,
government, no,
end the meeting,
but
we have to do any voting to end.
we have to have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right, we are adjourned. Okay.
Thank you.
Tell Josh to click us
They're
off.
off, well,
And
they're
legal.
all